Hello, Leo, fierce heart of the Zodiac. Let me ask you something bold, right from the start. What if one of the 6 numbers I'm about to share could shift your entire destiny, wealth, health, and everything in between? This isn't clickbait. And this isn't a coincidence. If you're watching this right now, I want you to feel it in your bones. You're here for a reason. You didn't stumble across this video by accident. You didn't just scroll into fate. You were summoned here by something higher, deeper, and very personal. From May 22nd to 24th, 2025, a powerful cosmic alignment is activating your energy field. The Sun, your ruling planet, is forming rare trines with Pluto and Saturn, unlocking old karmic locks and revealing hidden doors in your chart. This is no ordinary energy. It's the kind that opens vaults. The kind that brings closure, rebirth, and profound manifestation. And within this astrological window, 6 sacred numbers are rising, each one a vibration, a frequency, a code. Not just for luck. Not just for hope. But for wealth that roots, for healing that lands, and for a future that finally feels like yours. These aren't just numbers. They're messages, handwritten by the universe, addressed to your soul. Each one carries a key. A turning point. A breath of fresh truth. And by the end of this video, one of them may be circling in your mind, echoing like a song you didn't even know you remembered. When that happens, don't ignore it. Speak it. Claim it. Write it in the comments. Say, backhand index pointing right, I'm Leo, and I receive the abundance of number ____ dot. Because once you do, you're not just thinking about change. You're anchoring it. And if you've been here before, if you've liked, commented, subscribed to this channel, let me pause to say thank you. I truly mean it. Every message, every click, every heart you send, it fuels this sacred space we call eternal mindfulness. You're not just a viewer. You're part of a community that believes in divine timing, in soul healing, in living a life led by light, not fear. So I thank you. From the center of my heart. Your presence makes this work possible. And your energy is the reason this message even exists. And trust me, Leo, you'll want to stay with me all the way to the end. Because what the universe is revealing between May 22nd and 24th is nothing short of miraculous. There's a rhythm building behind the scenes of your life. And today, we're going to decode it, through 6 numbers that hold the keys to your money flow, your healing path, and your next great leap. So take a deep breath. Let the noise fade. Ask yourself quietly, am I ready to meet the part of me that doesn't have to chase anymore? Because if the answer is yes, then it's time. Let's begin. When the number 11 enters your energetic field, it does not arrive quietly. It emerges like a flicker in the dark, sudden, electric, undeniable. And for Leo, who often lives in the blazing daylight of action and visibility, the presence of 11 asks something radical. Pause, listen, and look beyond the familiar paths you've mastered. Not to retreat, but to reset. This number isn't just symbolic of change, it is change in motion. It carries the imprint of transformation that isn't forced but invited, like a wind that doesn't knock down doors, yet moves through every open window of awareness. 11 is what numerologists call a master number, a vibration that doesn't settle for surface-level shifts. It calls for clarity, for courage, and most importantly, for a willingness to dissolve the old mental frameworks around money and health, especially the ones rooted in fear. If you've been moving through cycles of earning and spending that always leave you exhausted or unsure, this is your mirror moment. Not because you've failed, but because something inside you is ready to operate on a higher frequency. A deeper knowing is rising now, telling you that true abundance doesn't come from accumulation, but from alignment. In astrology, 11 resonates with Aquarius and its ruler Uranus, the great disruptor, the awakener. Uranus energy shakes things up, but not to destabilize you. It disrupts stagnation to restore motion. If your financial flow has felt stuck or dependent on outdated systems, now is the time to reimagine it. You might be called to pivot careers, try a new income stream, or finally use a dormant talent you've kept tucked away. Whatever it is, number 11 signals that your breakthrough won't come by working harder in the same direction. It will come when you stop running and start listening. This is also a powerful time to observe your relationship with wellness. Not just physical health, but how you tend to the vessel that carries you. So many of us approach healing like a task list: diet, workout, supplements. But 11 wants you to shift from discipline to devotion. Your body is not a machine to fix, it's a temple that reflects your inner truth. And sometimes, what it needs most isn't another regimen, but permission to soften. Alternative approaches like breathwork, energy healing, or simply walking in silence may hold more power for you now than any prescription ever could. There's a saying passed down in quiet wisdom circles: when the mind becomes quiet, the body begins to speak. And when the body speaks, the soul begins to remember. That's the gift of this moment. You're not being told to do more, you're being invited to see more. To feel more. To trust that your nervous system knows when it's safe to open again. Healing doesn't come from force, it comes from space. From the ability to witness yourself, gently and without judgment. Financial freedom and bodily vitality are not disconnected, they are both expressions of how freely your energy flows. Number 11 doesn't separate them, it unites them. And in doing so, it helps you reclaim a level of sovereignty that no paycheck or fitness tracker could ever measure. It brings you back to something much older than your goals, the knowing that you are inherently capable, valuable, and whole. Let this number be a doorway, not a destination. Let it guide you toward practices that reconnect you with what is real, not just productive. Because in the end, what you truly need isn't to prove yourself, it's to feel yourself. Not just alive, but aligned. And when that happens, Leo, your outer world will adjust in harmony. Your health will feel lighter. Your money will move smarter. And your spirit? Your spirit will rise, not with noise, but with knowing. There's a moment in every journey when the path stops expanding until you take the next step. The number 5 is that moment. It arrives not with hesitation, but with fire in its chest and movement in its bones. If number 11 whispered to you about awakening, number 5 urges you to act on what you've realized. For Leo, who often carries the flame of courage and the pride of purpose, this number brings a reminder: the universe doesn't reward waiting. It responds to momentum. 5 is the vibration of change, not the kind that politely knocks, but the kind that walks in unannounced and asks you to follow. It doesn't demand chaos, though. It invites a liberation from the stale routines, from the cycles of almost started and nearly finished. This number resonates deeply with Mars energy, the force of decisive motion, of assertion, of life force being channeled into action. Mars, after all, does not analyze possibilities indefinitely. It chooses, it moves, and it adapts along the way. This is where the wisdom of restraint and movement intersect. There is a teaching in many mindful traditions: you don't have to walk the entire path right now, you only have to take the next right step. Often, the suffering isn't in the doing, but in the overthinking. And if you're feeling stuck in your finances or your health, it's rarely because the opportunity isn't there. It's because the fear of stepping forward is louder than the call of your intuition. Number 5 lowers that noise. It tells you, if you can hear the pull, you're already halfway there. In astrology, when Mars transits a sensitive point in your chart, it triggers not just motivation but friction. That friction isn't punishment. It's heat. And heat creates movement, just like pressure creates diamonds. When this number activates in your field, ask yourself, where am I being called to move, not to escape, but to expand? Is there a conversation I've been avoiding that could change everything? A financial risk I've feared but know could be freeing? A commitment to my body I keep postponing, waiting for the right time, that never feels ready enough? There's a simple truth that applies here: action doesn't guarantee success, but inaction guarantees stagnation. And 5 is not a number that tolerates stagnation. It breathes best when the air is fresh, when the energy is shifting, when the horizon is alive with potential. It nudges you out of your seat, not to run, but to realign. Not to prove, but to participate. In terms of health, number 5 asks for dynamic movement. Not punishment, not control, just motion that feels like aliveness. Whether it's dance, strength training, swimming, or simply walking with presence, your body craves a rhythm that matches the pulse of your truth. And if you've been disconnected from that rhythm, now is the time to return. Not for aesthetic goals, but for the joy of feeling your own life force rise again. Financially, this is the moment to take a well-calculated leap. Trust the intuitive sparks that have been flashing in your mind lately, the business idea, the skill you've shelved, the investment you've hesitated to explore. Do your due diligence, of course, but don't let caution become paralysis. 5 reminds you that the universe often sends opportunities disguised as tiny nudges, not grand announcements. If you feel it, test it. If it stays with you, follow it. Ultimately, number 5 brings an invitation to choose motion over fear, to honor the present moment by stepping into it fully. There is no perfect time. There is only this one. And when you choose it, truly choose it, you return to the natural flow of life. The current quickens. The doors begin to unlock. And the next chapter begins, not because fate chose it, but because you did. Following the fire and motion that number 5 brought into your field, number 26 arrives like a steady breath, calm, grounding, and quietly powerful. If 5 asked you to leap, 26 now invites you to land. And not just anywhere, but into a structure that can hold what's coming next. It's the energy of choosing not only to grow, but to grow sustainably. of shifting from the thrill of change into the stability of stewardship. Because some blessings, especially the material ones, require a container strong enough to receive and retain them. Numerologically, 26 reduces to 8, long associated with power, wealth, and manifestation. But the energy of 26 isn't just about the result, it's about the process. The presence of the 2 brings sensitivity, cooperation, and foresight. The 6, often linked to responsibility and harmony, asks for balance between what you build and how you nourish it. Together, they combine into a vibration that teaches real success is not just measured by what you gain, but by how well you can sustain what matters most. Astrologically, 26 resonates with Saturn, the teacher, the boundary setter, the architect of time. Saturn doesn't deny rewards. It simply asks, have you done the inner work to hold what you're asking for? And if you haven't, are you willing to begin now, with grace, patience, and a sense of responsibility rooted not in fear, but in wisdom? This is where deeper lessons unfold. Sometimes the most spiritual act isn't to manifest more, it's to maintain well. Not to sprint toward the next desire, but to organize and honor what's already within your reach. Number 26 reminds you that wealth without clarity becomes weight. And that safety, real safety, is not in having more, but in being fully aware of what you have and how you tend to it. In terms of finances, this is the moment to sit quietly with your numbers. To look, without judgment, at the ebb and flow of your resources. Ask yourself, what's draining me unnecessarily? Where am I spending out of impulse instead of intention? Create a plan, not as control, but as a form of self-respect. A 6-month budget. A gentle savings routine. An investment in something slow but solid. This is your energetic vote that you are ready to stop surviving and begin building. And in your physical well-being, this number speaks to strengthening your foundation from within. Support your nervous system with minerals like magnesium or zinc. Simplify your meals, eat with awareness. You don't need expensive regimens, you need consistency. There is deep intelligence in the body that responds when you treat it not as a machine, but as a garden. One that thrives not on pressure, but on rhythm. This is also a powerful time to examine where you seek external permission to feel secure. Are you anchoring your value in someone else's opinion? Are you measuring your worth by productivity alone? Here, the wisdom lies in knowing that true security begins the moment you stop outsourcing your peace. When your stability is not determined by what happens around you, but by how you respond within. Just as a tree strengthens its roots when the winds rise, number 26 offers the chance to deepen rather than retreat. To build not just for the moment, but for the long road ahead. With discipline, yes, but also with compassion. Because order without kindness becomes rigidity. And kindness without boundaries becomes depletion. This is your moment to create space for your life to flourish, not by doing more, but by becoming more intentional. Because when the external world feels uncertain, your inner systems, your routines, your nourishment, your financial clarity, become the most sacred form of protection. Not to hide from life, but to meet it with strength, presence, and the quiet confidence that you are building something that can weather any storm. After grounding yourself with the stabilizing presence of number 26, number 14 arrives like a gentle stream, unrushed, unforced, but deeply nourishing. Its energy doesn't demand breakthroughs or declarations. Instead, it whispers something far more profound, that true abundance often flows not from striving, but from softening. That the money you're trying so hard to chase, the wellness you keep scheduling into strict routines, may actually be waiting for you to slow down long enough to receive it. The essence of 14 carries the vibration of integration. In numerology, it reduces to 5, a number we've already met, associated with movement, change, and the boldness to act. But 14 tempers that energy with harmony, patience, and wisdom. In the tarot, it's linked with the Temperance card, a symbol of balance, flow, and sacred moderation. There's a powerful teaching embedded here, one that says you don't need to swing from extreme to extreme. You don't need to choose between ambition and peace. There is a middle way, and number 14 guides you there. Astrologically, 14 aligns with the expansive, generous energy of Jupiter. Jupiter doesn't limit, it opens. It stretches your field, not through pressure, but through presence. But what we often forget is that expansion can't happen in constriction. You cannot grow into your potential while holding your breath. You cannot magnetize abundance while operating from a frequency of urgency. And yet, we've been conditioned to believe that pressure is proof of progress. Here's where number 14 challenges that belief. It teaches that sustainable wealth and well-being don't come from grinding harder. They come from refining your intention and trusting the rhythm of life itself. In practice, this might look like choosing a project that feels light instead of one that simply looks profitable. It might mean letting go of a job or relationship that drains your nervous system, even if it's secure. And it absolutely means returning, again and again, to the practices that regulate your inner state, because a regulated nervous system is the most fertile ground for long-term prosperity. There is a quiet wisdom found in those who learn to slow down without losing momentum. Who understand that rest is not withdrawal, but preparation. That joy is not a luxury, but a compass. From this lens, number 14 is not passive, it's strategic. It teaches you how to manage your energy, not just your time. How to follow delight, not just discipline. And when you start leading from a place of inner ease, the outer world begins to move differently. Money finds you. Opportunities arrive without coercion. And your health begins to align with the calm you've chosen to cultivate. One of the most transformative shifts you can make is to stop trying to earn your worthiness. To stop treating healing or wealth as a reward for over-effort. What if you allowed ease to be the path instead of the prize? What if you believed, even for a moment, that you're already worthy of abundance, even without the hustle? Number 14 invites you into that experiment. It reminds you that life has its own current, and when you stop swimming upstream, when you begin to float with awareness and direction, the effort eases, but the results deepen. This isn't laziness. It's alignment. It's clarity. It's choosing to let go of what isn't working, not from exhaustion, but from wisdom. And that wisdom says, real success feels like peace. So take a deep breath. Loosen your grip on the outcome. Show up with joy, move with intention, and let the current do what it's been waiting to do all along. Carry you toward everything that's already reaching for you. After softening into the ease of number 14 and learning to trust the rhythm of aligned abundance, number 38 enters with a deeper message. One that asks you not only to flow, but to integrate. This number carries the rare frequency of creative leadership and embodied wisdom. It arrives when you're no longer just seeking your path, but when you're beginning to realize that your path is not separate from the healing and expansion of those around you. Number 38 is not about achieving more. It's about aligning the different parts of your life that are already speaking to one another quietly beneath the surface. In numerology, 3 represents creation, expression, and the pulse of ideas that want to be born. 8, on the other hand, holds the vibration of mastery in the material world, sustainable wealth, structure, and personal power. Together, they form a synergy that speaks to the kind of success that doesn't just elevate you, but includes and uplifts others. This is the energy of someone who leads with presence and listens with depth. Not the loudest voice in the room, but the one people instinctively trust because it feels grounded and clear. Astrologically, number 38 aligns with the energies of Neptune and Pluto, 2 planets associated with profound transformation, deep healing, and the unseen layers of human experience. Neptune dissolves illusion, connecting you to intuition and unity. Pluto strips away the inessential to reveal truth, power, and regeneration. When these 2 archetypes meet within you, you're being asked to look at your health, your wealth, and your sense of meaning not as separate projects, but as facets of the same internal ecosystem. Too often, we try to heal the body without addressing the mind. Or we work tirelessly to earn money without reflecting on whether our work reflects who we truly are. Number 38 asks you to stop compartmentalizing. It says, you are one whole being. Your vitality, your finances, your clarity, they are interconnected. If one is depleted, the others cannot fully thrive. This number doesn't encourage perfection. It encourages coherence. This is a moment to return to what's essential, not by simplifying your life to the point of emptiness, but by choosing what truly aligns. What if your next financial breakthrough didn't come from more effort, but from teaching what you've already overcome? What if your next wave of healing came not from retreating further into yourself, but from gently re-entering community with people who remind you how far you've come? In practical terms, number 38 invites you to invest in knowledge that expands your ability to serve. Coaching, healing, teaching, expressive arts, these aren't just paths to income. They're vessels through which your life experience becomes valuable to others. And that value flows back to you in ways more generous than money alone. Because when you give from wholeness, not from obligation or sacrifice, you receive in a language that only resonance can translate. In your physical body, this number calls for reconnection. Not through intensity, but through presence. Group yoga, breath circles, mindful conversation, these practices restore not just muscles or organs, but your sense of belonging. When the body feels supported by rhythm and shared presence, it naturally begins to unwind. Healing, then, becomes a side effect of harmony, not a reaction to imbalance. There's a quiet power in understanding that integration is its own kind of abundance. You don't have to be everything to everyone. But when you bring the fragments of your own life into balance, when your work reflects your values, when your health supports your purpose, when your relationships honor your truth, you become magnetic. Not in a flashy way, but in a deeply authentic one. Number 38 is the number of convergence. It reminds you that you're not here to split your energy trying to fix everything separately. You're here to remember that everything flows from the same center. And that when you care for that center, everything else begins to respond, not because you forced it, but because you finally allowed it to meet you where you are. So now, dear Leo, after walking through the frequencies of numbers that called forth your courage, your balance, your softness, your power, and your purpose, I want you to take one quiet moment with yourself. Not to analyze, not to achieve, but to feel. Which number spoke the loudest to your body? Which message lingered long after the words passed? That's the one to start with. That's the doorway. Remember, these numbers were not meant to impress you, they were meant to activate you. You didn't come here by accident. You're here because something inside of you already knows it's time. Not time to fight harder, not to prove more, but to move differently. To live not from fear or habit, but from a place of clear, steady knowing. If even one sentence in this video stirred something in your chest, then that's your sign. You don't have to overhaul your life in a day. But what's one shift you could make today to come into greater alignment with what you truly value? Could it be reviewing how you're spending your money? Saying no to something that drains your energy? Or maybe just 5 minutes of silence, where you let your breath arrive before your thoughts. Your life is already in motion. The question now is, are you moving with it, or are you resisting the flow because it feels unfamiliar? So many of us spend years waiting to be ready, waiting to be certain, waiting for a sign that it's finally safe to begin. But Leo, you've already begun. The moment you showed up here, the moment your energy met this message, you stepped onto a new timeline. The rest is simply a matter of whether you'll say yes to it. And so I ask you gently but directly, what part of your life is asking to be rebalanced right now? Where have you been too hard on yourself, and where have you been too soft with your boundaries? What's one thing, just one, that you can do differently this week to respect the energy that wants to emerge through you? Leave a comment below and let me know, what number keeps showing up for you lately? Which one feels like it holds a message you needed to hear? Write it down, not for me, but for you. For your future self, who will one day look back and recognize this moment as the one where things started to shift. And if this message supported you in any way, if it gave you clarity, comfort, or just a quiet reminder that you're not walking alone, please consider liking this video, subscribing to the channel, and sharing it with someone you know who's ready to step into more. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being here with me, and with this growing community we call Eternal Mindfulness. Your presence, your energy, your openness, it's what allows this space to exist. And I'm so grateful you chose to spend these minutes with me. You are not waiting on magic. You are the magic. And you are already rising. Let yourself believe that. Let yourself live that. And until we meet again, may your numbers guide you, and may your light lead the way.